Let's get a sample data set from Maven Data Analytics. It has a CRM sales opportunities. We're going to use this data set for our analysis today. Fairly lower number of records, and this is a time series data. Go ahead and download the CSV file. There are also few starter questions that we can use to start analyzing the data. Copy this and paste it in a Google Sheet. We're going to use Google Sheets for our data analysis today. I've already imported all the data that I've just downloaded. Go ahead and do that. There should be 5 different CSV files: dictionary, sales pipeline, accounts, products, and sales teams. I've also copied and pasted the questions here for reference. I've also added like other possible questions for our analysis. There's also a slightly complex problem that we're going to tackle later on. Few key points to note is that this particular dataset is a sales pipeline report and it's not a sales report. Those two are different. And revenue is from newly closed deals and not from actual sales. We're going to look at these two key points when we are going to answer this. After you've imported the data, make sure you get familiar with what you have in front of you. I've organized the data dictionary so that it's easier to understand. Generally, the data sets are not available in this format. Maven Analytics has done a really good job of organizing, cleaning data and putting everything in place. The sales pipeline has sales records or like pipeline records. Accounts contains like clients information with their yearly revenue, number of employees, office location, all of these. Product is a unique detail of products, their series and sales price. Sales team, basically like these things are generally very disorganized and a lot of cleaning, organizing needs to be done. But for this case, we can simply go ahead and start doing our work. There are 4 different tables: accounts, products, sales teams, and sales pipeline. I've highlighted some of the key important fields: accounts and revenue. These are like annual revenue in millions. Products, sale price, suggested retail price. Sales pipeline, deal stage. This is going to be very important for our analysis today. Sales pipeline basically moves from prospecting to engaging to either winning or losing the deal. And then there are also like engaged date versus close date. And then finally there's close value, which is revenue from the deal. Now let's look at our first question. How is each sales team performing compared to the rest? Let's go ahead and look at the data dictionary. The sales pipeline data is in this particular tab and has these fields. Right now there's sales agent details. Other than this, there are no any additional details for these sales agents. So what we are going to need is sales team information from the sales team table. So we are going to bring in regional office field into the sales pipeline table. Let's go ahead and do that. Regional office sales team. Use a VLOOKUP formula. We're going to use sales name of sales agents to bring in their regional office. You can copy and paste this formula all the way to the bottom of the sheet. That is done. I'm going to freeze this top row so it's easier to see. All right, now that we have sales team information, let's go ahead and see which team is performing better. Select all the data and insert a pivot table. We're going to use pivot tables a lot in this analysis today. Let's bring in our sales team regional office as rows, and then deal stage as columns, and then finally close value as values. At a first glance, we can see only the final one stage has values, so we don't need to worry about other 3 stages. So what we can do is simply filter those out. Add that as a filter, remove everything aside from one, and we have our data. Now we can also remove the deal stage column because we're only dealing with one particular stage, and this value and the grand total is the same, or like close value is the same. So we can just simply remove columns, and then we have sales team regional office in our rows, and then close value, which is the revenue from the closed deals, as our values, filtered by stages. From here, we can already see that West is leading with 3.5 million from the revenue. Right now, this is in a number format. We can reformat this in a currency. And then we can also remove the trailing zeros after decimal. Here we go. We can further organize this in a order, either ascending or descending. And then part of the analysis is doing visualizations as well. So Google Sheets provides a bunch of ways to create charts. There's pie chart. We can use pie charts, or we can go ahead and use a column chart, bar chart, give it a name, sales team performance with closed deals, revenue from closed deals. The labels can be anything. It just needs to make sense to the stakeholders that you are presenting this to. The charts, they don't have to be specific, like in a specific order. If you can incorporate as many information as possible in a single chart, that's very helpful to understand. So at a glance, we can see team from the west is leading with 3.5 million, central and then east. We have our answer to the first question. Let's copy this chart, go ahead and paste it here for reference. We are moving now to, are any sales agents lagging behind? Let's take a look at this question, performance of sales agents. We are going to work with the sales pipeline table again. There are opportunity ID and records for each sales agent, so we don't need to do anything more there now. So what we can do is simply make a copy of the pivot table and replace rows with sales agent. We have the data here now. The remaining part is organizing this in a descending order or as ascending order. That's up to you. And insert a chart. At the first glance, we can see like Darcel is leading, whereas Violet is at the lowest end. Yeah, you can make a pie chart or you can make a vertical bar chart, anything, whichever you prefer. Yeah, make it pretty. Give it a name, sales agents performance with closing deals or something. We can use the same label name from the earlier chart and copy and paste this chart for reference. All right, now we move on to third question. Can you identify any quarter over quarter trends? So we want to see if there are any trends in the sales pipeline, right? So in that case, we need dates. There are engaged date and closed date. We also know that we only have a revenue from the deals that are closed successfully, right? So we don't need to do a lot of things right now. We just need to look at the data that we already have. So let's make a copy of the pivot table. You don't need to select the whole chart. We just need the reference, table reference or range reference. We're going to replace sales agent with close date, and we already have closed value and it is filtered by the stage. As you can see, there are a lot of records, like each day, for each day there are records, right? We don't want to see this. What we need is quarter over quarter trends. So there's a nice way of doing that. We can use year quarter grouping and we have what we need. Let's go ahead and organize with sum of closed value and in descending order. Or we can simply leave it as ascending Q1, or even like leave it, because we start quarter from Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. There are certain aspects of quarters, like quarters generally start in July, but Google Sheet probably recognizes Q1 as starting of January. So we'll have to map that accordingly, but that's for later. Let's just chart this for now. There you go. This is a time series kind of problem. So those are generally depicted using a line chart, but that's up to you how you want to present. Let's add some data labels. Give it a label QOQ, quarter over quarter trends for closed deals, and then for y-axis our revenue, use the same label as we used previously. Copy this chart, paste it here for reference. And then the next one is, do any products have better win rates? So that's the question here. Let's go ahead and look at the data dictionary table. Products and win rates, right? So in our sales pipeline table, there's a product information, but it is only product name. As you know, name is generally unique. Categories are really hard to group. That's why we're going to use a product series in order to identify like which series is performing, or like which product series have a lot of deals, closed deals, versus which do not, something like that. Now, similarly, what we did at first, we are going to need to bring this information in our sales pipeline table. Let's go ahead and do that. Product series, use a VLOOKUP formula. We're going to use the product name, look into our products table, and bring in the series for that product name. You can simply double click and it will autofill the details. As you can see, there are a bunch of NAs. It says did not find GTX Pro in VLOOKUP evaluation. So this product does not have a series name. It says, let's look at that. Yeah, we can't find any name with this product name. But GTX Pro and GTX Pro, this should be the same. The only problem here is a missing space in the name. That's part of the data cleaning problem. Thankfully, there was one, which is good. What we are going to do now is replacing sales pipeline product name with this one particular from product table. So copy this name. Let's go to our sales pipeline table and then filter, remove everything, select GTX Pro, and then paste the new name. Now that is done, we can see the product series name here. There shouldn't be any errors left. If there are, we can simply check. There are none. All right. Now let's go to our pivot table, make a copy of a product pivot table, and then we need to add range. We just added a column in our sales pipeline. So let's change that, basically update that. Column J is where we added product series. Let's replace close date. We need to be careful while making changes in pivot tables. Make sure you select the right one. Now, update column J, replace, and then we can sort this by close value in a descending order. Yeah. Simple details like these kind of data is fairly easy to understand at a glance. It doesn't need charts, but while presenting this to stakeholders, it's a good practice to use visualizations. Go ahead and play with the column chart. You can either use pivot table to see the distribution. GTX is leading with 73%, MG, and then GTK, right? So yeah, any kind of charting is helpful as long as you get general idea. All right. Product series with closed deals, something like that. Copy this chart and let's paste it over here. All right, we've answered all of these 4 questions, right? So for the first one, we know that West is leading with 3.5 million, followed by Central and East. The second one is our any sales as in lagging behind. Pilot seems to be at the bottom, whereas Tarsal is there at the top. You can take a look at like top 10 or top 5 who are at the bottom, or top 10 or top 5 who are at the top to do further analysis. Quarter over quarter trends, we can see Q1 started with 1 million, and then Q2 went all the way up to 3 million, then 2 million, and then 2.9 million, 2.8 million in Q4. So there was a rise in Q2. It's probably a good idea to look into why this happened. Like asking why in all of these analysis will give you a further detailed information on why something is happening, right? That's the core of doing analysis. And then finally, do any products have better win rates? So it looks like GTX series products have better win rates compared to other ones. It's more than half. In addition to that, let's go ahead with other possible questions. We're going to tackle a few of these, not all of this. Where are the accounts or clients mostly based on? So there's like our accounts table. Let's look at our data dictionary. In our sales pipeline, we have account, company name, but no location, right? So we're going to need to bring in office location from accounts table into our sales pipeline, right? That is one. There's also another question, what's the overall closed deal distribution across industry? We are also going to need to look at another field from accounts table, which is sector and industry, basically the sector field, right? So we're going to bring in two fields. One is sector and the next one is office location, this one, into our sales pipeline table. All right, let's go ahead and let's add two columns to the right. Give it a name, account location, and then account sector. Let's use VLOOKUP. I'm going to use a slightly advanced VLOOKUP here. We're going to look using account name in accounts table. We are going to bring in our office location, which is in column 6, and then sector, which is in column 2. Office location, United States, sector. I'm going to add array formula in front, and it will bring both of these value at once, right? So there's a slightly advanced trick. So what we can do is array formula, look all the columns from D. We can do D2 is to D. It's a good practice to see. So we have 8,000 rows. So I'm going to mention that here. D2 is to D8801. And this will bring all the values at once. We don't have to click and drag or like copy and paste everything here. But this is not advised for a lot of like huge amounts of data. It will slow down the sheets very heavily. And once you use array formula, sorting and filtering is going to be really tough. So that's something to keep in mind. We can see some NAs here basically did not find value in VLOOKUP evaluation. Let's quickly take a look at what's happening. All the NAs are from the rows that does not have any account names. So that's fine. This is no problem for us. There's a way to handle this, but I'm not going to go into that for now. Let's move into our pivot table. We added two more columns, K and L. Let's make a copy of the pivot table. Let's close the earlier one. Open the newer one. Update the range all the way up to L. Our two columns are here now. Let's bring in column K with account location. Sort by close value. We can do a descending order. United States is leading. We can insert a chart to see the distribution. Probably a good idea to use a pie chart. Client locations from closed deals. Make it 3D. 25% whole. Yeah. Copy this chart and then paste it over here. So yeah, we also did like account sector. It's also going to be fairly easy. Copy, paste, make sure you are editing the right one. Account sector, organize, sort by close value in a descending order. And then there you have your distribution. Probably this way of saying will give us a better idea, right? So something like that. Yeah, go ahead and make it pretty. Account sector with closed deals. And then revenue. I'm not sure if format painter is applied in the charts. It does not look like that. It does add data labels, make it 3D. Chart style can be something like this as well. It's helpful when we add data labels like that. All right, there we have our answer. Retail is leading, and after that, technology, medical, and software. These are all the sectors. All right, we are going to do one more. This is slightly complex, any trends, patterns in accounts versus deal stages. So far we have only worked with the sales pipeline table because this has our sales data. Wait, before that, there is one more question that I want to tackle. What's the timeline to closing a deal? Right, so this is also pretty important. What we know is we have engage and close date, right, while closing a deal. So we're going to use these two information to find answer to this question. What's the timeline to closing a deal? Like how long does it take in general? Yeah, let's go to our sales pipeline and add in a column. I would generally not advise this, like making changes directly into a sheet, make a copy or this somewhere else. Right now this table is formatted as a currency. I'm going to change that to number and remove the trailing zeros. So using a date diff formula, start date, end date, and we're going to see this in days. D means days. Let's go all the way to the bottom, paste it here, and there are few errors. There's a way to handle that. If error, copy and paste the same thing. All right, we now have our duration. Next, create a copy of the pivot table, and then let's now add duration in our rows. We want to group this. We can see it starts from 1 to all the way up to 38 days. Let's group this. Starts 1, maximum value, let's keep it 140. We're going to use a 30 days interval size, and we have our grouped duration and sum of close value. Sorting this is going to be a bit tricky. So like earlier we used to sort by sum of closed value, but when we sort using this, it will mess up our groups. So instead what we can do is we are going to copy this table, paste it as values only. And then what we can do is use the inbuilt filter and then sort by J to A. With that, now we can add a chart, something like this. Timeline to close deals. Revenue from closed deals. Okay, so what we can see from here is basically the deals with higher revenue are being closed within the first 30 days, whereas we can see there's one deal, probably mixture of deals, not just only one deal. Lower value deal is taking a lot longer, right? So this is also good information or insight that we can use in our analysis. Paste it here. One more thing that I want to tackle here is what's the average timeline? Like in average, how many days does it take to close a deal, right? So in our sales pipeline, we added our duration earlier, but we know that only closed deals have revenue, right? So for others, there's no dates. If we just take an average of this date here, we can see it's like 45 days in average, but this average number is very tricky to understand. We probably just need to remove the blank dates here to understand the true average, right? So copy these numbers somewhere, and then from there we can do an average, so which is 48 days in average to close a deal, right? So this could be a good metric, either decrease this over time or increase over time. That's a good metric for sales team to measure their performance against. Now we're moving to the last part of this analysis for today, any trends or patterns in accounts versus deal stages. So I wanted to add this one bit, and I've already done some work behind the scene. So what we are going to now look at is we have all these accounts for our clients, and clients have their own revenue. From all of these clients, we are getting certain deals. One client may have more than one deal, right? Opportunities, the opportunity ID, and then like how much value is that opportunity bringing in, right? Close value. So the question is asking, are there any trends or patterns in accounts versus deal stages? Generally, we like if we have very high value clients, we can probably see like if we are getting a lot of deals from those high value accounts, or we are losing a lot of deals from those high value accounts, right? So that could be a good analysis that we can do. And if we figure out some patterns or trends, we can invest further in that. Let's go in our accounts table. I'm going to unhide this column. So what I've done here is basically I've selected key accounts from here, from within this table using a query formula. I've selected account names and then the revenue they are bringing in, where revenue is more than 5,000. And that's a condition that I've set. It looks like these are our top 10 clients from this list. Next, what I've done is basically used information from our sales pipeline table. As we know, there are different stages to our deals: engaging, prospecting, lost, and won. So using a formula, filter formula, I brought in like how many deals this particular company has in engaging stage, prospecting stage, lost, and won stage. You can get this using a combination of filter and then counting what filter brings in. So at a glance, it looks like Can Code is our biggest client with 11,698. Similarly, there are other clients in a descending order. Next, what I've done is I've added all the deals in total: engaging, prospecting, lost, and won deals. And then these are the total deals. What I've done next is like we have also lost deals, and then we've also won some of these deals, right? What's the percentage? So basically dividing lost with total deals will give us representation of like what's the percentage of lost deals with this particular client, right? And then what's the winning rate. So at a quick glance, we can see 63% is the top one. Like we have the highest winning rate with this particular client, Scott Find. Similarly, like after this 63, there's like 60, another one is Konix. Basically, this is a way of identifying like which clients can you pursue further, like for more deals, right? There are prospecting deals in pipeline, and then there are like engaging deals as well. We can push forward really well, and then there's a high chance that we might be able to like win that deal given how we've won most of the deals in the past. That's something that we can analyze really well further deep into the line. And these are for top 10 clients. We can do something similar for our lower end clients as well and see the trend there. And if there are higher winning rates, we can pursue further. But basically, this covers everything that I wanted to show you today. There are a few more questions that you can do on your own. The next step in the data analysis will be to actually put all of this together in Google Slide or any kind of presentation, PDF format, or anything what works for you, and then present this to your stakeholders with insights and then recommendations. That's it for today. Thank you.